Hey all, how are you? Happy Friday. Okay, Friday as we know it. Um, so I'm here with you today to do our second installment of our comic book workshop lessons. All right, yes. I'm not gonna lie, I almost forgot about this. Oh my gosh, I literally was in the middle of putting my laundry together, and my brother is one of my patrons, and he said, "Oh, I see." He said, "I see that you're going to be doing something in like 20 minutes." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Oh, it says it on YouTube that you're going to be doing a broadcast." I'm like, "Wait, what?" And then it hits me. It's like, "Oh shoot!" Like I'm supposed to be doing a class today. So hey, here I am. Thank you, my brother Diago. Big shout out. I don't know if he's watching, but he'll probably, if anything, be checking this out uh, later. And thank you for joining me for our first lesson. If you joined us, you also may hear my cats ripping and racing. This time I'm inside, y'all. I am inside. I'm not being chased by bees. For those of you who just watched the latest video, it's completely edited. I took out all mention of the bee. I took out me running from the bee. Like that is gone. So it's just pure comic book information. But yes, I'm in the house. So you may see a cat or two and them running around and living their lives, which is always beautiful. I love my kitties. I love them. They're so beautiful. But today's lesson is about character description. Now, character description on the surface, I mean, you hear character, you hear description, you just figure, like, okay, I'm describing the character. Big deal. You know, why is it so important? Oh, it's immensely important. Character development is immensely important. You want to create characters that people can resonate with, even if they're fantastical, even if they're villainous. You want to be able to resonate with that character. Audiences want to resonate with your character. They want to understand them. They want to try to get them. So, in order to do that, you have to get them. So, with that said, I'm going to teach you how to do this process called a character bone structure. Now, I was taught to do this in college by my wonderful um, creative writing teacher. I think his Professor Gaida. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered his name. Professor Gaida taught us this, and I live by it when it comes to writing. No matter what I'm writing, you can use it for prose. You can use it for scripts, as in like movie scripts, play scripts, and of course comic book scripts. So it's a wonderful tool, and I use it for everything. And this will be a separate lesson, but I also use it for world building. I use it for world building as well, and I'll show you that. So let's go over one that I've already done. So the basic thing with a character bone structure, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see this, is that you're literally breaking down a character to their very last compound. You're uh, you're you're getting deep or delving deep in who this character is, what their motivations are, what they care about, what they don't care about, um, what they what they what they want to see happen, in terms of their lives. Um, and that's sort of what you want to concentrate on. So I'm going to share my screen. Yes. Here's my screen, y'all. So let's open this up. So, oops, you're seeing my world building bone structure as well. So here's a quick character bone structure that I put together with some students a while back when I was teaching comic book creation to grade schoolers. So we had a character. His name was Travis Jesus. And so how we started with Travis is that we create a physical aspect list of who this person is. So the physical aspect list is filled with the person's name, yeah, what skin tone they are. You can also put attractiveness, their eye color, height, weight. No, weight, I just have to say attractiveness is relative. Is relative, depends upon what you like, but we have it there. And their age, their gender, their hair color, and distinctive markings. So that can be a tattoo, that can be a scar, it can be a mole. Here, Travis's left eye is missing. So, so we basically have some really quick physical aspects of this person. Now you can add other things to it. You can add other things to this. Like I would also sometimes, I would add. Let's see, I would add eye. Well, we have eye color. Um, I would add. There's something else that I would add. Oh, ethnicity. I've often added ethnicity, like what background are they? Like, yeah, where did this brown skin tone come from? Is he tan? Or or is he Afro Latinx? Is he black? Is he is he East Indian? Is he West Indian? Is he Arabic? Like like where does this person come from? So those are the physical aspects. So, and just so you know, there'll be some other aspects that we're going to discuss. And these aspects, you can add as much as you want or as little. So let's scroll down to the second part. Oh, also if he has powers. Oh, I did put ethnicity. Oh, I'm so good. I'm so good. I can't believe I forgot that I put that, but hey, I did. So he happens to have power. So he has telekinesis, flight, super speed, and yes, his ethnicity, he's Hispanic. Now, also, we have the aspect of social, or or better known as what is his place in society. So we get a little bit more intricate here. And so some of the topics we have here is what's his career. Sometimes I also put a person's education. We have we have home life, we have social life, hobbies, and lastly, life-changing event. And so here we have that his career is that he was an ROTC student who went off to join the army, and he lost his eye, and now he's become a retired detective. And his home life is that he lives alone. He left his wife and child due to his PTSD. You, and just so I can say this, the kids created this character. I did not. And I remember saying to them, like, wow, like a lot has happened to this guy. And they just said, yeah, he's a sad dude. And I said, okay, no problem. Social life typically will consist of yeah, what does he do outside of his home? Does he have any friends? Apparently, like he's an alcoholic, and it definitely affects his social life. And the kids want to make sure that he was a messy drunk. Whom Also his hobbies, despite all things he's gone through, he is an artist. He does draw things that are kind of morose, and he's also a gunsmith, so he makes guns. And then life changing event, you always want to give a sort of like a touchstone for a person, and a touchstone can definitely be described as a life changing event, or a moment that just sticks with a person, sticks with a character. So his life changing event was his mother gave him up to an orphanage, and he discovers his powers while he's in foster care. Now, the third aspect that we discuss is psychological. So, what is the mindset of the character? Um, what are parts of him that we can't see? So he is his IQ. He's highly intelligent. He's also an introvert. We also discuss weaknesses. He has several powers, but he can't do both powers at once. So if he's doing telekinesis, right, he has telekinesis and flight and super speed. If he's moving things with his mind, he can't fly. If he's flying, he can't. He. Well, of course, yes, he can't run, but I would imagine that he can't fly, like let's say, super quickly. Nor can he use his telekinesis. So let's just scroll down. Um, and He's also antisocial, and here it's also his personality. He's charming when a person gets to know him, but he has a threatening personality towards people he doesn't know. So I guess you can also say that he's a very, very guarded person. And here is, I guess, the world building bone structure, which we'll go over at another time, but maybe we'll touch today. But um, as you can see, like we did touch upon what this person's world looks like, and of course, this person is uh, Travis Jesus. So we'll touch upon that later and probably expand upon that in another lesson. It's, thank you, Black Cape Media. Yeah, it is pretty thorough. It is a pretty thorough process, and it's quick. What I like about character bone structures, and we can build one together if you want. Um, and when I say you, I'm talking to Black Cape Media, since since you're watching. If you want to build a character together, we can do that for the other patrons. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm back here with you now. Um, so yes, it is a very thorough process. You want to really get into the head of your character, and a character bone structure is also a place where you can just throw down everything you ever dreamed about for this character. And as you're throwing things down, um, you're also throwing it down to see what sticks, what makes sense. You're also putting things down to have something to draw from when you're writing this character. Because if there's ever a time where whether you question whether this is something the character would do, or what is their motivation, where are they coming from when they're behaving the way they are, you can always take it back to the character bone structure. Again, like we mentioned, Travis Jesus, like he has experienced a lot of trauma because of being in the army, having to do things that he didn't necessarily want to do, but because he's in the army he had to. So you can only imagine some of the things that he's experienced, and now has it translates into his daily life. But also what's great about the character bone structure, if it really translates well to all age groups. So I've taught this to, I mentioned grade schoolers before, but yes, grade schoolers, middle schoolers, and high school students, and college students. Like, so it translates well to all different age ranges, grades, the whole nine yards. Um, and it's been very interesting to see how people take this tool and transform it, for their own usage, and especially with kids. It's fascinating. It's how their minds work. Now there are other character description tools that I could show you, but I really feel like the character bone structure is the most thorough. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a character together. So again, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to open up Google Docs. And so here we are. I have this already like set up for y'all. So we're going to start with the physical aspect. Oh, so big. Oh my gosh. let me look. Let me make this a little bit smaller, just a hair smaller. So we're doing the physical aspect of a person. Oh goodness, I feel like I can't spell today, but that's all right. Um, so as I mentioned before, you essentially can add whatever you'd like to add. So I don't have a solid character ideas right now. Just taking notes. Okay, no problem. No problem. No problem. No problem. And that is Black Cape Media for others that are watching on Patreon. So no problem. So I'm just going to go back. to doing the bone structure. So we'll do let's see, maybe we'll do a female character this time around because we just met Travis Jesus. So physical aspects. So I usually like just putting down the categories first. So I'll put down name, I'll put gender or gender identity, ethnicity, skin tone, eye color. Sometimes I'll even get even more descriptive. I'll do shape. I'll do hair color as well as texture. Because this is also not just for me. I also send this to the artist that I'm working with for the comic. It really gives them a good sense of who the character is, and who they're drawing and how they're drawing them. So hair color, texture. Let's do height, weight. Do distinctive markings. I always like to give distinctive markings. We can also do body type. And that's a bit different from height and weight. It's definitely different because, your height and weight doesn't necessarily dictate what your body type is. And you might put facial features. And yes, you can put attractiveness as well if you see fit. So here are just some categories that you can put. You don't have to be married to all of them, but you definitely need a name. You don't necessarily need skin tone, but you might want to put facial features or distinctive markings. There's certain things that are important to you. That's what I would add. Um, since comic books is a visual medium, all of this is necessary. Uh, most of this is necessary. If you were just doing prose, then not so much. Then you can probably cherry pick and just let the reader, um, imagine what the person looks like. So name. I don't know why this name is in my head, but I'm thinking Cherry Blossom. I don't know why. Sometimes I also put name/alias. Maybe Cherry Blossom is her alias. Oh, I'm gonna make Cherry Blossom her alias, and then her real name is Cheryl. We'll just do Cheryl Johnson. Gender identity, we'll say female. Ethnicity, we can say Afro Caribbean. Skin tone, medium brown. Eye color, let's do copper. Let's do something a little bit different. Copper. Shape, we'll do almond shape. Hair color and texture. Let's give her light brown, tightly curled hair. Just like tightly curled. We can also put down hairstyle. We're gonna add that. Style. So let's say likes to wear her hair in one large Afro puff. Thank you, spell check. Height and weight, let's make her 5'5", 156 pounds. A body type, we can say, let's say athletic and thick. And if you want to be specific, I mean, if you want to be specific about body parts, you can. If you want to make mention like, oh, well, she's very busty, or a round backside, or she has wide hips, or she has slender hips, or whatever, her thighs are thick, she has a flat stomach, or she has a like a nice cushiony belly, like you can say that as well, like whatever language feels right for you, you can add that. So we're doing facial features. So she has like a round face, high cheekbones, um could put broad nose, or pointy nose, or pudgy nose, like whatever makes sense. For attractiveness, I'm just gonna put pretty. Distinctive markings. She has a cleft in her chin, and I'm just making this all up as we go along. Cleft and chin, and dimples in both cheeks. So here we have Cheryl Dodson, aka Cherry Blossom. She's female, ethnicity Afro Caribbean, skin tone medium brown, eye color, shape copper, almond shaped. Her hair is light brown, tightly curled, and she likes to wear her hair in one large afro puff. Her height and weight, she's 5'5" and 156 pounds. Body type, athletic and thick. Facial features, round face, high cheekbones, broad nose. Attractiveness, I just put pretty. Distinctive markings, cleft in chin, and dimples in both cheeks. So now we're going to go to the social aspect. And this is usually the one that sometimes I have the most most difficulty with, because you're trying to give this person a backstory, and sometimes you kind of have to rack your brain for it, but it usually comes up. So let's put career, education, and putting down all these different categories helps me figure out who this character is. So that helps to make it like less difficult. So career, education, um, home life. You can also put family. Sometimes I combine home life and family together. Family, and put social life, um, a life changing moment, um, sometimes I also put biggest regret, as well as greatest accomplishment. And keep it balanced. So here are some categories. And again, you can put as little or as much as you want, but you want to be as thorough as you can be and have plenty of stuff to draw from when you're writing these stories. So feel free to pad it, because even if you don't put all of the information in um, the story, at least let's say initially, you can always go back. You can always go back. Let's say you did a graphic novel and you only touched upon a few things in the story. Now you're doing, let's say, graphic novel number 2, and you have more information to pull from. And you can also add to it too, as long as it makes sense. Add to the character bone structure, that is. So career. So I'm going to make her a spy. A spy for the US government. Education. Oh, you can also put where she's from. How could I? And I usually put that on a physical aspect, but it probably can go on social too. And you can just say, sometimes I'll just put country of origin, or you can just put place of origin. So I guess she's going to be from Saint Martin. So I made her a spy for the U.S. government, but she could easily be a spy for Saint Martin. Education, studied, let's say, criminal justice. Oh, and I'm coming up with all this stuff. Lives, you can say where a person lives. Let's say she lives in New York City. Studied criminal justice in New York City. Let's keep it simple. New York City, let's say graduated top of her class. Joined the CIA immediately after school or after graduating. We can put that there. Again, I'm just coming up with this stuff off the fly. Home life. Home life, she is a devoted mother, wife, and sister. Her family life, she has 2 children with her husband, Jared, who became disabled on their last mission together. Again, I'm just coming up with stuff off the fly. Like her mother lives with them, and she also has 3 sisters. 3, let's say, younger sisters. It's like, okay, spell check. Where are you when I actually need you? Just leaving all these words unchecked. So she has 3 younger sisters. Social life. She is a social butterfly. With a close knit friend group. Life-changing moment when she couldn't protect her husband on their last mission. And you can be more descriptive than I'm being, but I definitely want to just try to get all this stuff in for you so that you get it's something for y'all to draw from. Now, biggest regret and life-changing moments can possibly be the same thing. Um, so this actually could be her biggest regret, but um, but it also it could this is actually interchangeable when she couldn't protect her husband on the last mission. But the biggest regret could actually be um that she didn't leave the CIA after her after Jared got hurt. And with something like that, that's when you can take the story and expand upon it. Like why does she regret not leaving the CIA after her husband got hurt? Like how was she treated, or what happened on the mission? Were they exposed? Like you can add more things to that. Greatest accomplishment, uh, raising raising her children in a loving family. So we can keep it cute. But it also could be something else. It could be, graduating at the top of her class. It could be absolutely something totally obscure that's nothing to do with this. It could just be, she taught herself how to weave. It doesn't necessarily have to be so specific, but since we're talking about her home life and her family, and it seems like as I'm learning more about Cheryl, just like you're learning more about Cheryl, like her family means a lot to her. So after I'm doing all of this for social, and we're going to just take a quick overview of this and realize I wrote so much. Okay. So on a social aspect, she's a spy for the US government. She studied criminal justice in New York City, graduated top of her class, joined the CIA immediately after graduating. Home life, she's a devoted mother, wife, and sister. Family, she has two children with her husband Jared, who became disabled on their last mission together. Her mother lives with them, and she also has three younger sisters. Social life, she's a social butterfly with a close knit friend group. Life changing moment when she couldn't protect her husband on their last mission. Biggest regret that she didn't leave the CIA after Jared got hurt. Greatest accomplishment raising her children in a loving family. So that's the social aspect of Cheryl Johnson, aka Cherry Blossom. Now let's get into the psychology of this character. And here I am trying to spell again. Or psychological aspect. Yeah, I like that better. So you can put IQ, you don't have to, but I often do. IQ, you put personality. Um, well, sometimes I get stuck on psychological as well because I'm like, wait. Um, um, so IQ, personality. I'm actually going to peek over at Travis's real quick. At Travis's bone structure that we went over earlier. Um, because what did I put there? Because sometimes I'm not sure what I want to put for psychological. Ah, okay. So let's go back really quickly because I'm like toggling. So here's something. So we have a personal motto. We also have strength, and we'll do weakness. And of course, there's more that you can put, but we're going to do these five. So IQ, you don't necessarily have to put the exact number of IQ, um, but you can put average or moderate. So we're going to do that she has a high IQ. IQ is high. Personality outgoing, family oriented, which we already know, thoughtful, protective. We can we put stubborn. Okay, her motto can simply be always protect what you love or who you love. And her greatest strength, or we can put greatest there, greatest strength, greatest weakness. Greatest strength can be her passion for justice. Her greatest weakness could be sometimes she doesn't take things at face value, which is interesting. Which is that just came to me. That's interesting because she's a CIA agent. You know, she's trained to be able to like detect lies or will detect falsehoods. Um, and so that definitely can be useful, but sometimes things are what they are. Sometimes there's not a greater meaning for it. Sometimes people are who they are, and maybe sometimes she doesn't take that in account. Maybe sometimes, especially when it's her family, she she gives them maybe too much of the benefit of the doubt, for example. So here we have the psychological aspect, so we'll go over it really quickly. So our IQ is high. Her personality is outgoing, family oriented, thoughtful, protective, and stubborn. Her personal motto is always protect who you love. Greatest strength, her passion for justice. Greatest weakness, sometimes she doesn't take things at face value. So here we have our character, Cheryl Johnson, aka Cherry Blossom. So yeah, that was pretty dope, right? That was pretty dope, pretty easy to do, but at the same time it's thoughtful. Like you really have to, sit for a minute and kind of think about this character. Now, for the bone structure that we just did with Cheryl Johnson, I mentioned this before, you can add more to that. You can also take away something. Honestly, when I think about it, I don't think I've ever taken away anything from a character that I've created. um but there's something that you might, especially if you're in the beginning stages of creating these stories. um Now's the time to do it. So if you're in the beginning stages, let's play with it, let's see what's going on, and just add what you think makes sense. If something doesn't, yes, again, you can take it out, but you can always add. You can always bring more wealth to your characters, therefore making giving more wealth to the story. And with that said, we're going to just quickly go over world building because we're going to have a separate class on that. But I think it'd be pretty cool to look at Travis again really quickly and learn a little bit more about his world and where he's from. So, again, Travis was the first bone structure that we looked at. And we're going to look at the world building that we did for him. So, let's take a look at that. So, here we have Travis Jesus. And here's the physical aspects of his world. So the year is 2092. He lives in Detroit, Michigan. There's a bar on every other I guess you should say corner. I probably was typing so fast for the kids. Oh no, I did get every other corner. Oh goodness. I think I'm hungry. Okay, so I'll take care of that after I'm done with you guys. Okay, so there's a bar on every other corner. There are a lot of alleys. It's also a futuristic place. Uh, well, of course, this is a future 2092, but I guess compared to how everything looks to us is futuristic. So after the war, many people were missing limbs and have cybernetic enhancements. Buildings are crowded where people are living. High skyscrapers, robotic house sitters. So socially, so Detroit is split into two classes, poor or rich. There is no middle class. The poor make robots for the rich. Uh, the poor get practice models to use at home. So they probably get some type of like a limited function robot. I don't think I want either in my house, but yeah, the poor is really getting the raw end of the deal there. So the robots look human except for their eyes. So uh, perhaps their eyes are white. Maybe they have pink pupils or like purple pupils, something that indicates that they are robots. Robots think they are human and act human and have emotions. However, they have a self-destruct button. There are a lot of bar fights. People coming back from the war were traumatized and need a coping mechanism. Mechanic shops have become more prevalent, which we could see because now there are robots in our midst. The rich make weapons. The rich make weapons. Robotic robotic factories are Oh, they make weapons. They make robotic factories. They own bars and mechanic shops. The poor make the robots, are the mechanics and the bartenders. The rich live off the poor. Money has changed. VC, aka virtual currency, is implanted in the skin of your arm. So that's the social aspect. Now, the psychological aspects are, well, the model for the poor is do anything to survive. The model for the rich is get money and live off the poor. Many veterans from the war have PTSD and need help. The US no longer helps vets that come back, I guess from whatever war torn area they're coming from. So that's a quick overview of world building. So essentially you're treating the world the character lives in as an actual character, which that's how I've always looked at uh, the world a character lives in. You should be able to sort of like breathe and smell and take in everything your character is living with in their world. Um, I think about Westworld. If anybody out there watches it, if you haven't watched it, it's definitely a good series to check out. But one of the first things that the main character is asked is, "Tell me about your world," and that remains like a theme throughout the series. Is what's in your world, specifically Westworld. And then once the characters leave Westworld, and not to be spoilery, but or once folks get a chance, or specifically the audience gets a chance to see the outside world, you get to see what type of character the outside world is. So it's like this juxtaposition between this robotic world and this quote unquote real world. But when you think about it, they're definitely both the real world to the respective characters that live in them. So it's a very interesting series, but it is a place where the world is definitely a character in and of itself. And you can explore those same aspects that we discussed, the physical, the social, the psychological, like all those various different aspects and the hierarchies within those aspects, you can definitely play with and take note of in a show like Westworld. That's definitely a show that I would suggest if you're looking to world build. It's a good example of that. Even The Walking Dead is a good example of how the world is a character in and of itself. I mean, there's several different series and movies that you could check out. Even like Blade Runner is another one. Um, it definitely, because these worlds definitely affect the environment for all the characters throughout. So that's just a suggestion. And we'll definitely do another workshop on that. And we'll also do a workshop on editing comics. That'll probably be um, our next workshop. We'll probably do like world building maybe after that, because I really think that's something that isn't discussed as thoroughly as it should. I think people probably find it as a mystery, like how in the world do you edit comics? Because I mean, it definitely is a creature in and of itself compared to its sibling of prose editing, um, and just editing anything that's non-comics. It's like how do you balance all of those things, the visual with the text? Like how do you do that? So we're going to do that next lesson for sure. So thanks for joining me this week. If you have any thoughts and any questions, feel free to message me through Patreon. This will be going up on the website. Looks like I'm not gonna have to edit this like I had to edit the last one. Oh my god. So it'll definitely be up sooner sooner than the other one. So give me about a week or so. But yes, let's prep for the next workshop. Will be editing comics, and then the workshop after that will be world building, and we'll do a nice expansive workshop on that. But I just wanted to give you just a little bit, just a little tidbit about world building, and just remembering that the world is also a character too, and it should be respected as such and treated as such. But that was this week's workshop, y'all. Again, take care, be well, and check in with me if you'd like to. Okay, bye, y'all.